A multi-billion-dollar settlement for children and families in this country who are harmed by underfunding on reserve child welfare services has reached a final step. It now has to be approved by the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal. The revised settlement, endorsed by the Assembly of First Nations, is worth $23.3 billion, up $3 billion from the original proposal. At least $40,000 will be paid to thousands of eligible First Nations individuals and families. David Akin reports on the impact the long-awaited settlement will have and what advocates are still hoping for.
My name is Ashley Bach, and I'm from the Michigagamang First Nation in northwestern Ontario, Anishinaabe Nation territory. However, I didn't get to grow up in my community because I was apprehended into foster care at birth and then adopted out later on.
Ashley Bach was one of thousands of First Nations boys and girls taken from their families and placed in one foster home after another, suffering the separation from their birth families and, too often, the loss of their language and their culture. Now, there's an agreement and compensation of at least $40,000 per person.
We are proud to say that this revised agreement is the best possible for our children and families who have been so significantly impacted by Canada's discrimination.
This has been a really long and emotional process, and for me it feels like almost a sort of spiritual journey, and when I'm doing this work it feels like I'm in like a mode that's almost like ceremony.
It's still not clear how many will be eligible for a payment, but it will include tens of thousands of people placed in foster care since 1991, as well as any First Nations child on or off reserve, deprived of essential services at any time.
This settlement will pay more compensation to more affected individuals than any other settlement in the history of Canada.
But victims also seek one other thing, an official apology from Canada to be delivered by the Prime Minister.
I mean, it signifies that Canada really truly does recognize and understand those harms that they perpetuated against us.
An official apology would also be an important signal in the change of Canadian consciousness about the plight of First Nations.
I think Canadians have now understood that the federal government underfunds things like water and all these other things on reserve. And that is just, that's just not fair. And people are demanding better.
The settlement now goes to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal and the Federal Court of Canada for final approval. As for that official apology, well, discussions among all parties continue. Donna.
All right, David in Ottawa, thanks.